The rose cross is a powerful symbol. It appears in many spiritual traditions. The rose cross points to hidden mysteries. It speaks of spiritual evolution. Its symbols are rich with meaning. The rose cross combines a cross with a rose. The cross is ancient and sacred. It represents the four elements. It also shows the suffering and resurrection of the divine. The rose adds layers of meaning. It speaks of love, beauty, and the soul. The rose cross is a key to wisdom. It invites us to look deeper. It challenges us to unlock our spiritual potential. The rose cross reminds us that we are more than our physical bodies. We are spiritual beings on a journey of growth. The rose cross is not tied to one religion or group of people. It is a universal symbol. It speaks to the divine spark within us all. This video will explore the rich symbolism of the rose cross. It will uncover its hidden meanings. It will show how this ancient emblem can guide us spiritually. The cross is the foundation of the rose cross symbol and usually depicted in gold. Gold represents perfection and divinity. The cross has 4 arms of equal length. They point to the 4 directions: north, south, east, and west. Each arm of the cross is associated with a color. These colors represent the 4 elements: air, water, earth, and fire. The top arm is yellow and stands for air. It's the realm of thought and intellect. The right arm is red, symbolizing fire, represents energy, passion, and transformation. The bottom arm is black and represents the earth. Earth is the physical world. It's the realm of stability and manifestation. The left arm is blue, symbolizing water. It represents emotion, intuition, and the subconscious. The center of the cross, where the arms meet, is often white and represents spirit. It unites all the elements. It's the divine spark within us all. The rose cross points to the idea of duality. Duality means that everything has 2 sides. Light and dark, male and female, good and evil are all examples of duality. The rose cross shows how these opposites are connected. They are not separate, but 2 sides of the same coin. The vertical line of the cross represents the male principle. It's active, assertive, and reaching upwards. The horizontal line represents the female principle. It's receptive, nurturing, and grounded. The point where the lines intersect is the point of balance. It is where the male and female principles unite. This union creates harmony. It is the source of all creation. The rose cross reminds us that we need both masculine and feminine energies within us. We need to balance these energies to live a fulfilling life. The rose cross can also be seen as a 2-dimensional representation of a cube. It's a 6-sided figure, and each side is a square. The 6 squares of the cube correspond to the 6 directions: north, south, east, west, up, and down. The cube represents the physical world. It's solid, stable, and measurable. The cube also points to the idea of creation. The 6 directions represent the 6 days of creation in some traditions. The rose cross, when seen as a cube, reminds us that the spiritual and the material are connected. The physical world is not separate from the divine. It's a manifestation of spiritual energy. The rose cross invites us to see the sacred in the everyday. It reminds us that we are spiritual beings having a physical experience. The rose is the other key element of the rose cross. It's usually placed at the center of the cross. The rose represents love, beauty, and the soul. It also has a deep connection to alchemy. Alchemists saw the rose as a symbol of transformation. They believed that base metals could be transformed into gold. Similarly, the human soul could be purified and perfected. The rose represents this process of spiritual alchemy. The rose on the rose cross often has 3 tiers of petals. These tiers represent the 3 alchemical principles: salt, mercury, and sulfur. Salt represents the physical body. Mercury represents the mind. Sulfur represents the spirit. The 3 tiers of petals also correspond to the 3 worlds in some traditions: the physical world, the mental world, and the spiritual world. The rose is a complex symbol. It has many layers of meaning. The rose represents purity and innocence. It's a symbol of the Virgin Mary in the Christian tradition. The rose also represents passion and desire. It's associated with love and romance. The thorns on the rose remind us that beauty can be painful. They represent the challenges and obstacles we face in life. However, the thorns also protect the delicate beauty of the rose. The rose's ability to bloom even under challenging conditions teaches us about resilience. It reminds us that we can overcome challenges and emerge stronger. The rose also symbolizes transmutation and resurrection. It goes through a cycle of death and rebirth each year. Forever reminds us that life is a journey of transformation. We must let go of the old to embrace the new. In addition to the central rose, the rose cross often features a second rose. This rose has 5 petals. It's placed at the bottom of the cross. The 5-petaled rose represents humanity. It also corresponds to the 5 senses: sight, hearing, taste, smell, and touch. The 5 petals also represent the 5 wounds of Christ in Christian tradition. The 5-petaled rose reminds us of our human limitations. It also points to the potential for suffering in life. However, the 5-petaled rose also reminds us of our connection to the divine. We may be flawed, but we are also capable of great love, compassion, and creativity. The Rose Cross teaches us to embrace our humanity. It encourages us to learn from our mistakes and strive for spiritual growth. The Rose Cross often features pentagrams at the end of each cross arm. A pentagram is a 5-pointed star drawn with one continuous line. It is a powerful symbol of protection and spiritual power. The pentagrams on the Rose Cross are usually associated with the 4 elements: air, water, earth, and fire. Each pentagram may contain a symbol that represents its corresponding element. For example, the pentagram at the top of the cross, representing air, might contain a symbol for air, such as a bird or a feather. The pentagram on the right, representing fire, might contain a flame or a sun. The pentagram at the bottom, representing the earth, might contain a tree or a mountain. The pentagram on the left, representing water, might contain a wave or a fish. The pentagrams remind us that the elements surround us. They are constantly interacting with us and influencing our lives. The Rose Cross is closely connected to alchemy. Alchemy is an ancient tradition that sought to transform base metals into gold. Alchemists also sought to achieve spiritual enlightenment. They saw the transformation of metals as a metaphor for the transformation of the soul. 3 alchemical symbols are often found on the Rose Cross. These are salt, mercury, and sulfur. Salt represents the physical body. It's the principle of persistence and stability. Mercury represents the mind. It is the principle of fluidity and change. Sulfur represents the spirit. It's the principle of transformation and purification. These 3 principles are repeated throughout the Rose Cross. For example, the 3 tiers of petals on the rose represent salt, mercury, and sulfur. The 3 colors of the cross, black, white, and gold, can also be associated with these principles. The alchemical symbols remind us that we are more than just physical bodies. We are also mental and spiritual beings. We need to balance all 3 principles to achieve wholeness. The Rose Cross is sometimes depicted within a hexagram. A hexagram is a 6-pointed star made from 2 overlapping triangles. It is a powerful symbol of balance and harmony. The hexagram is also known as the Star of David. The upward-pointing triangle of the hexagram represents the spiritual realm. The downward-pointing triangle represents the material realm. The overlapping of the triangles shows the interpenetration of the spiritual and the material. Symbols of the 7 classical planets often surround the hexagram. These are the Sun, Moon, Mercury, Venus, Mars, Jupiter, and Saturn. The planets represent different aspects of human experience and consciousness. For example, the Sun represents vitality and self-expression. The Moon represents emotions and intuition. Mercury represents communication and intellect. Venus represents love and beauty. Mars represents action and courage. Jupiter represents expansion and abundance. Saturn represents structure and discipline. The hexagram and the planetary symbols remind us that we are part of a vast and interconnected cosmos. We are influenced by the movements of the planets and the rhythms of the universe. The Rose Cross invites us to live in harmony with these cosmic forces. Thanks for watching. Did you enjoy this dive into the mystical Rose Cross? Hit that like button and subscribe to explore more fascinating symbols and their hidden wisdom.